Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the U.S. Enterprise Mobility and Security Community Call for December 2016. Hard to believe it's already the end of the year. Thank you again for taking a little bit of time out of your day to join us today. We do appreciate that. My name is Nick Johnson. I am one of the community leads here, and I've got some of my other community hosts helping us out with the call today as well. And you'll actually get to hear from some of them here in a few minutes. But before we get started, just a few housekeeping reminders. If you have any feedback or questions for us as presenters as we go through the call today, down in the lower left-hand portion of your browser, you're going to see a little chat window. You can type in a question and submit that, and we will get to that as soon as we can. Feel free to use that for any feedback or any questions that you have as well. If you have any trouble with audio today, just let us know. We can provide you with a dial-in code so that you can join us via the phone to dial in for the event today as well. The other thing that you can do, if a little bit of troubleshooting, if at any point your video or browser locks up, just hit refresh on your browser. It'll join you right back into the stream, and you can join us that way as well. Need to let you know that the call is being recorded on behalf of the Microsoft Corporation. You are in a listen-only mode, but if you do not consent to being a part of a recorded call, you should disconnect now. And for you as partners, you always ask, and then, yes, it is being recorded, so we will be posting it to our Yammer group later today, or first thing tomorrow whenever that rendering gets done, so we'll have that posted for you. The other thing that you always ask about, and we will provide, is the slide deck with today's information. In fact, we want you to have it because it's going to be chock full of links and other useful information that I think you're going to want to take with you. And so we will provide a link to that in the chat window here in just a few moments, and that will help us get you the information that you need. So what are we going to cover today? You know, when you get towards the end of the year, everybody has their favorite news site or sort of television program that does the best of the year. We're not going to quite do a best of. What we're going to do is a top five resources that we feel are valuable for you as partners as you go about your business of building a successful enterprise and mobility and security practice. And so we're going to cover some of the incentives and offers that are available out there. There is money on the table, and we absolutely want to make sure that you as partners are tapping into those funds to make the most of your engagement with your customers and making sure that you're getting everything you can from Microsoft on a funding perspective as well. And so we're going to hear about some of those here in just a moment. We're going to look at some of the sales and presentation resources. Oftentimes, you folks are reaching out to us via the Yammer community and some of the other resources that we have and saying, hey, I need a good slide deck for, and you fill in the blank. And so we're actually going to show you some sites and some resources where you can get access to that in a self-service way. It's a really great set of tools. And if you've got salespeople in your world that you want to help them sort of get ramped up and be equipped to go have great customer conversations, we are going to provide you with links for that as well. Also going to show you some demo resources. The actual live working demo of EMS is sometimes hard to come by, but we've actually got some resources that are available for partners. We've talked about these in the past, but we're going to show you some of the latest and greatest and some of the updates that have happened. We're also going to talk a little bit about some of the learning plans and training resources that are available for you. We often get the question, help me learn EMS. I want to learn more about something. We're going to show you some of the resources that we have available today and give you a sneak peek at some of the things that are going to be coming here in the next few days, actually. And finally, we'll close things out. Just a reminder on some of the internal use rights and competencies surrounding EMS. The reason we're going to bring this up is there have been a few changes that were announced in the last 3 weeks or so, and we want to make sure that you're aware of those and able to take those things with you and make them a part of your business. So just as a reminder, this is the Enterprise Mobility and Security Community. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We do have 3 ways that we communicate with you, and you can see those on the screen here. We've got a Yammer group. That's our primary method. So if you're not a part of that Yammer group, please make sure you join that. We also have a blog that we're posting things on a regular basis, and typically we like to fill our blogs with a lot of links to really useful information that we find that is helpful for partners. So make sure that you follow that blog either in your favorite RSS reader or subscribe to it right there online. And then we also do these calls monthly. This month we're a little bit earlier than we typically are. You'll typically find us in the last week or so of the month. This month, because the last week falls right between the Christmas and New Year holiday, we didn't want to try to get everybody together for that. So we're gonna get everybody together here today, and then we'll get back onto our regular schedule starting in January. So with that, I'm actually going to introduce one of our global black belts who's a partner sales exec focusing on EMS, and his name is Dave Gifford. And Dave is going to talk to us about one of those funding programs that's available for partners to tap into. It's a really great one. It's called EMS Everywhere. So Dave, welcome. Tell us more about it.
Thank you, Nick, and good morning or good afternoon, everyone. So we have a program that was launched earlier this calendar year in March called EMS Everywhere, and the idea behind it is to enable our partners to conduct a full-day workshop for customers on site to help provide and show the value of EMS. I think one of the struggles that we've seen, and probably you may have seen it as well, is that customers will think on one of the workloads, say focus on mobility or identity, and then miss out on the value of the entire story. And the workshop is designed to pull together key customer resources in a room where you can go through their business needs, their business challenges, gaps they have, work to align the EMS offering, and then provide back a write-up on how to move forward. So Nick, if you can move forward one slide, please. So the details behind this is that is a funded program through the PI method. We provide you with 3,000 hours. We kind of look at this as a co-investment. So we're looking for you to invest time as well and really focus on a C-level interaction. So this really works well once you have buy-in and sponsorship. I think sponsorship is a key word from an executive to bring together the key teams. The key teams will include security, identity, and mobility on there. The process for submitting for the funds is through the PI engine, the Partner Investment Engine. So you can actually go out on your own, work with your existing customers, request the funding, and deliver these. We have $1.2 million in the funding bucket for this, and there's still over $300,000 available. So we've already had over 500 requests for this program. And it sort of tells to the success that we had. Next slide, please. Nick, can you move on?
Yeah, we are showing the next slide, Dave. If you're getting a little bit of a delay, you can go ahead and talk to it, but it is visible for the audience.
All right, and I'll make sure everybody's seeing the positioning of EMS. So the positioning is, as I mentioned, is really after you or Microsoft has had an opportunity to present the Microsoft security story. That's an all-up message and really starts positioning the value of identity as a security, for example, and data security, data protection. Now, when you work with the Microsoft field, just be aware of the different groups. If you have a customer you want to work with that's in our enterprise group, typically Microsoft has already delivered that message, and I encourage you to reach out to that field team and work with them on this session because they're probably already involved. As we move into other segments with our corporate accounts and our CTM accounts, our smaller accounts, we really look at the partner as the driving force behind this. We want to scale with you guys. We want you guys to go out and lead these. So really focus on those and own that component. And as I mentioned, this really does demonstrate the value of EMS. I've participated in probably 10 of these, and the information we get out is invaluable. Think of an entire day with a customer going to their deepest, darkest secrets around security and identity and challenges. It's very important, and this is sort of a best practice, that you pull all the teams in and you have both the decision makers in the room and the technical. You'll uncover a lot of information. You'll find these teams don't talk to each other, and they'll often argue amongst themselves, which is a very good thing because you get a lot of issues out on the table and you can try to get them answered and move forward. We typically see this happening. If you look at the Microsoft sales process, we call it 20% stage. You've qualified the opportunity, there is an interest, but the customer wants to know the value. And at the end of the day, this meeting, we really have shown and developed the value. So Nick, can you move ahead? So this slide shows you the agenda. The ask that we have is that you follow this agenda to make sure you qualify for the funding. Why? An important thing that has to happen is covering every topic. We've gone into these with a customer not really wanting to talk about mobility, but at the end of the day, mobility becomes one of the pivotal items we focus on. Covering each item is critical because it really demonstrates the value of the solution, but it really shows the customer why identity is key for data security or why identity is key for the mobile device management. So we ask you to follow the agenda and cover every topic, and we provide slides and information to help you do that. Nick, I'm not seeing a slide move on. I'm assuming everybody can see the agenda slide.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, mine's frozen, so I'll just go with that. So the idea is to follow this format. Now, for our standpoint, Microsoft, the view is that a field seller who knows about this program will have confidence that a partner he interacts with will be delivering the EMS Everywhere program as it stands. When I've talked with partners on a one-to-one basis, most of them have a similar offering, which is fantastic. That tells me that you can deliver this. The value in following this format is for the field. Our sellers will know that when you say I'm delivering an EMS Everywhere workshop, they know exactly what's going to be done. They know exactly what's going to be delivered. There's no guesses. There's no incorrect positioning with the partner, with the customer if they mention this and want to bring you in. So following this is really key, and we've tried to make this have a format that flows well and well. And if you go to the next slide, Nick, we provided the content. So this is the key thing. It's not like, hey, here's an agenda, go figure out how to deliver it and develop the content. We provided all the content for you. So there are slides you can use. There are recommendations from the Black Belt team. There's a OneNote document we recommend you download and review because there's best practices in there. And then there's also a templated deliverable. And again, we put that all together to make it easier for you to conduct these and really make it simpler and faster to deliver. Once you've done one or two, these go pretty quickly. I can go in now to a EMS Everywhere workshop with just reading the questionnaire that's sent out ahead of time to the customer, and I'm ready. So maybe an hour prep time, I can go in and deliver a full day workshop to a customer, and that really helps scale well. So if you look at the last slide, really provide some details. So there's links on the program. We can get all the information. There is information about delivery. And then I mentioned this as a pre-sales. We have a lot of customers that own EMS, but they haven't deployed it. And the workshop framework and agenda works the same for delivery. So you can have a customer leverage their vouchers, and the voucher usage is 3. So 3 vouchers count for the workshop, and have that as a starting point for a project plan for moving forward with the delivery and implementation of EMS. So again, the deliverable basically becomes their project plan, and you can work from that and then include, recommendations, statements of work. I've seen a lot of different things that partners have included in their delivery to help the effort move forward. So that's sort of the overview of the program. We have funding still for the rest of the year. We've already had 400 requests. We have a lot of success, and we wanted to share this again because it is a very good best practice, and it helps us leverage partners very effectively in the field. So Nick, if there's time, I can pause and take 1 or 2 questions if people have any.
I'm not seeing any questions in the queue right now, but folks, if you have questions, just go ahead and type them into that messages pane down in the lower left-hand corner of the browser, and we can get those over to Dave. Oh, there is one more, one question that just came in, Dave. It says, there's events to learn more about the program details. When and where are those events?
There's not, yeah, that's a good question. We haven't had any events. The actual program details has recorded sessions that goes through that. So if you go to the link to the EMS Everywhere site, there's actually an hour-plus training session that Nick and I actually participated in, going through each section, recommendations, and how to deliver it. So it is there so you can consume on demand.
Sounds great. Yeah, and folks, if you're looking for those videos, they actually are on our Yammer group still, I believe. If you click the files section at the top and you scroll way to the bottom, you'll probably have to go back in history a little bit, but there are some videos that we posted that show kind of an overview of the entire EMS Everywhere program. So a really good resource there for you. Another question, Dave, that came in is the program only available in English, or are there resources for other countries to use?
Yeah, right now it is only in English. We have had requests and considering looking at other languages, including French Canadian, Spanish, and Portuguese, but nothing has come through yet on that, unfortunately.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. That's all the questions. Oh, maybe one more that came in. Yep, nope, that's all the questions for now. Folks, if you have more questions for Dave, or if you have questions about the EMS Everywhere program in general, go ahead, post them out to our Yammer group. We'd love to use that as a place to dialogue with you, so that's a really good resource to tap into. All right. One question, actually, Dave, one more question if you're willing. In
Absolutely.
the PI program documents, it says that EMS Everywhere can use to be covered as for a proof of concept as well. Is that accurate, or is that not quite correct?
No, that is accurate. In the PI program, they have put two things together under the EMS Everywhere mantra. One's a workshop, and this is what you're seeing here today, and they can also provide the same amount of funding, $3,000, for a proof of concept.
Perfect. Love it. All right. Another question. This is a popular topic. Just some feedback. It says, this has been an awesome program. Can you keep the funding coming? This has been very impactful on helping us close deals. So good feedback.
For the person who said that, A, absolutely. B, my ask is we'd love to know the success. That's one of the metrics we're trying to go back and track. Unfortunately, looking at the PI funding and trying to correlate that back to sales hasn't been successful. So for the person who said that and closed deals, if you can reach out to me directly with the success and quotes and customers, I'd love it. My email is davidgiff@microsoft.com,
Yep.
and I'd love to hear your success.
Yeah, we can always look you up in the Yammer group as well. Send you a direct message that way. So
that will work as well.
Good. So that's probably all the time we have for questions on that. If there's more questions, folks, please keep submitting them. We'll keep a list and we'll get it to Dave and we'll answer it on the Yammer group as well. But we want to keep moving in our agenda to make sure we cover all the topics today. So Dave, thank you. Most of you don't know, Dave is actually calling in from an international location today. He's got a busy travel schedule this week, but he was gracious to join us and talk about this program. So Dave, thank you and safe travels the rest of your week, my friend.
All right. Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right, so we will keep moving, and what I want to do is sort of give you that resource walkthrough that I talked about, and I'm not going to show you a lot of slides. I am going to show you actually one slide, and this one is chock full of links, and we're going to get this to you at the end of the session here today. We're working on uploading it to Yammer right now. There's, for some reason, the Yammer is not allowing uploads to happen right at this exact moment, so we got some folks working on getting that fixed for us, but we will make this available to you on that Yammer group. But what I want to do is walk you through a demo of some of these resources that I think you're going to find really, really valuable as you go through building out your business. So if you bear with me just a moment, I'm actually going to flip over to a live share of my screen and bring that up. And you should see that momentarily. And what I want to do is kind of continue on the theme that we started with, which was the funding and resources that are available for you. And Dave actually mentioned that customers can use their vouchers. Well, if you're not familiar with that voucher program, we have a program that's a part of the software assurance benefits called Deployment Planning Services. And essentially, if a customer is signed up under an SA, they get a series of vouchers that they get to use essentially to pay you as a partner to do certain workloads for them, right, and help them out with certain things. And so we can use that for the EMS Everywhere program. The customer can use that to pay for part of that. But we also now have 4 new enterprise mobility and security deployment planning services that have been launched. And if you haven't seen these yet, it's actually a really great offering. So let me jump into the website here. Hopefully you're seeing this on my screen. Yep, looks like you are. You'll notice they are actually filed under the Azure Deployment Planning Services. So if you're looking for those, they're under AZDPS. And once you get in there, you'll see you do have to have a silver or gold competency as a partner in the Enterprise Mobility and Management competency to be able to qualify for the EMS specific offerings. But once you click into this, I'm actually going to go live demo on you here. So bear with me. Hopefully this works for us. And once you get into here, nope, see, that's going to fail on me there. We're going to jump back over here then one more time. There we go. So there's the planning services, and you'll see now I'm going to highlight kind of right in the middle of the screen here. There are 4 of them. I've got links to each of those in the slide deck, so I'm going to show you later. But you can see it primarily hits the major areas of EMS, right? There's identity and access management, identity security, information protection, and then manage mobile productivity as well. And so you can come in, you can click on any single one of these to get more details about what's involved. And then as you navigate this, you'll see there's this kind of gray bar across the top of the screen, and I'm just going to kind of roll my mouse over it for you. But it walks you through, as a partner, what is this program all about? What are the solutions? The offerings, we've sort of found those already, but what's the process you go through? So there are some training videos that you go through as a partner to get you ready to deliver one of these. You do have to verify your eligibility. So as a partner, you have to be signed up to deliver these. There's a little bit of an enrollment process. It's just that we want to validate you are who you say you are. You've got the competency that you need to do this. So make sure you walk through that before you begin one of these engagements so that you can register the deal appropriately. So go through that eligibility and enrollment process. Make sure that you're updated in our directory. And then it's going to tell you how do you get paid, right? That's obviously the reason why we're doing this type of a program. So make sure that you know how to get paid. It'll walk you through what that voucher process is so you can explain it to your customers. How do they use those? How do they redeem those with you? And then ultimately, we want to make sure the check's in the mail. So that's all here. The links are in that deck. So if you're doing EMS deployments, my guess is a lot of you are already doing the work that these deployment certificates will cover. So make sure that you're getting paid in max dollars by letting your customers have the opportunity to use those with you. So that's a really good resource that I wanted to point out to you there. And I'm just gonna pause for just a second and check the queue on that and make sure see if there's any questions that have come in. It doesn't look like it, but if you have questions on that, there's links out here. There's an FAQ, there's a help doc, there's all kinds of resources that you can tap into. These folks work with partners every single day, and so they should be able to answer your question pretty quickly. So those are the two primary funding buckets we wanted to talk about today. And the next thing that we want to talk about is a question that comes in a lot. And it really has to do with, all right, I need to equip, as a partner, my sales teams to go out and have really rich customer conversations. So A, I need to train up my salespeople, and B, I need to give them the right resources. Maybe that's a really good slide deck, or maybe there's some PDFs that actually detail out what's actually in EMS and what's the value of it. You guys know the questions that you're getting from customers, right? So is there a place, is there resources that can help you with that? There is, and hopefully you've seen this, but if you haven't, this is a new and updated site. We've shown this before, but in the past it looked very different, so if this is new to you, this is the Cloud and Enterprise Partner Resources site. You can log into this with your partner ID, the same one you log into MPN with. And when you get here, you're going to want to come straight away to the Identity and Access Management, Information Protection, or Manage Mobile Productivity section. And so if you click Information Protection, for example, it's going to give you a little bit of a link, set of links down here. Really, you're going to want to go to the Partners Get Started Here option. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that, and we're going to see that, all right, it's going to prompt me to log in. So I'm going to put in my credentials here, logged me out as I was waiting for all of you to join us today. Once I get in here, you're going to see, and this is super important, and it seems pretty basic, but I do want to point this out. Right now, I'm in the information protection bucket. So you'll see this in the big blue box right in the middle, right? If I want to switch to a different area, I can click Products, and then jump down to Other Products. Where did it go here? Sorry, I'm waiting for it to load on my screen. There we go. And I can jump over to Intune or any of the other products as well. But I'm gonna stay where I was. Oop. See, now I lost it. There it is. Here's the information protection one. But once you're on this page, this is really where you want to spend your time. So down in the middle, there's this gray bar that goes straight across this page. Again, it's sort of a navigation tab. And you can walk through each and every one of these, and I'm not going to walk you through every single one of these links, but this is a really great place to get started if you're equipping yourself or some of your sales peers to go and have that conversation around EMS. Start on the training bucket. There's some really good links to videos that are just basic EMS overviews, but they really drive home the message from a Microsoft perspective. All of these are put together by our sales and marketing folks and our product teams. Really great resources. There's slide slide decks that show you all the different resources. So if you want to sort of talk about what's there and that type of thing, that's great. So this is sort of the training tab, right? This is behind the scenes, you're getting ready. Then you jump to, all right, let's go have the customer conversation, and that's where this sales and marketing tab comes in. So you're going to see, and we'll look at some of these in more detail, but it has a link off to, okay, where's the EMS demo environment? I'm going to show you that here in a few minutes. Proof of concept information, what can you do around that? Or if it's just sales materials, so you want to actually have the customer pitch. Well, what can you do there in terms of that? So I'm actually going to just pop this thing down and see if I can't open this up. And actually, just like those cooking shows on TV, I downloaded this for us earlier so that I can show this to you here. All right, so here's what one of those would look like. So if I were to look at the information protection solution pitch deck, and I'll bring that up here in a second. Here's what that looks like, right? So in this case, it's talking about Azure Rights Management. It walks you through all the really nice graphics and stats and things that you can use to drive a customer conversation. You may not use the whole deck. You may choose to just pull a very small subsection of those slides out and use those for your conversation with your customers. The point is that they're all here. I would highly recommend you go out and you download them and you make them available for your sales teams to be able to leverage on a regular basis. Incentives and offers, we sort of talked about that, but this is the place to keep up with. If in case you're wondering, are there more? Can I tap into other things? This is the place to keep up with. And then there is a partner showcase option. So once you've got your practice built up and you're feeling like, wow, we really want to get our name out there more in terms of our EMS capabilities and competencies, if you're going to do that, first and foremost, reach out to myself and Rob and Dave and the team here on the Yammer group because we want to help you do that, right? We want to help you build your practice. But if you want to go through the steps of digitally doing it yourself, that is also here. And then there are links off to the support pages as well. We won't cover those today, but there are some really good options for support. So this sales and marketing page, this whole Cloud and Enterprise partner resources page is a really good one. Bookmark this, get familiar with it. I find I use it a lot in a lot of the customer conversations that we have. With that, let me flip over. I actually want to move on to demo environments. And demo environments are super important, right? We want to have a really good working demo. But as you know, EMS is a complex solution. And so to go through and set one up can take a little bit of time. Well, we've made that process a little bit easier for you as Microsoft partners. And what you do is you head over to the website. It's called demos.microsoft.com. Super simple to remember. It's going to be in the slide deck that we show you here that we make available to download as well in terms of the links. And when you're on demos.microsoft.com, it'll actually prompt you sign in as a partner. So you get to sign in. And there's essentially two things that this site does. And let me jump to the home screen on it here. It allows you to provision actual working EMS demo environments. And that does include an Office 365 tenant. That's kind of necessary to do the demos that are set up there. So what you do is you come in here and you just click on create a new demo environment. You can see you can create up to 6 of them at any one time. And that holds true on the partner side as well. So you can create 6 of those. And it'll prompt you, do you want to do standard? You want to do some custom stuff? If this is your first one, do a standard one, and I'll show you some instructions here in a second. But when you do this, you're going to want to make sure that you choose the Enterprise Mobility and Security add-on, and then it's going to prompt you for some information. Now, you're probably wondering, where do I get this information? What do I put in here to make sure this works correctly at the same time? Right in the middle of this screen, there's a hyperlink. It's the EMS Getting Started Guide. When you download this, you're going to get a PowerPoint file. And this PowerPoint file actually walks you through as a partner. Here's exactly what you need to do to go through to complete this setup process. I'm not going to walk you through that today. We've actually covered that in a prior community call. And if this is new to you, I've actually done a blog series on this. I did 3 different blogs walking you through sort of the setup, the provisioning, and then actually executing your demo. And those links are all in the slide deck that we're going to send you today. So make sure that you tap into that Getting Started guide and those blog resources, because those are really going to help you get accelerated on here. Once you walk through this process, just a heads up, it does take a few hours to get the environment completely provisioned because it's a full Office 365 tenant plus some EMS information. And so you're going to want to make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time. If you've got a customer demo in an hour, this might not be the best solution. Give yourself a few days. If it's the first time ever doing this, give yourself some time to get familiar with it. So once you've provisioned the environment and it's up and running, you're going to get an email saying, yes, we're provisioning it. And then you'll get an email when it's done saying, hey, this is all set up for you. That's great. But once you've got the working environment, what do you do with it? Well, then you come into the demos section of the demos.microsoft.com page, and you're going to want to, right up here at the top, click Create a Resource Collection. And when you create a resource collection, essentially what you're doing is building a catalog of files, PowerPoints, instructions, demo scripts that you want to be able to show. So you give it a name. I'll just call this one Friday, even though it's not Friday, but I wish it was because everybody loves Friday. You select the tenant that you're going to provision this against. And once that's provisioned, then you go through and you scroll through. You probably have to click this Load More button a few times. And as you do that, it's going to get down to, let's see, I had EMS here somewhere. I promise you EMS is in here. There's a lot of different demos that you can do. So here's one of them, EMS Identity and Access Management. You can choose to add it. You choose to add it. Once you've gone through and added all the different demos you may want to do, and here's what you do the first time. Just download them all. It's no harm, no foul to just download them all. It won't change your environment install because these are all just standalone files. So my suggestion is download them all. Select the ones that you want, come up here and click Create Demo. And essentially what it'll do in the back end, it'll take just a few seconds. It'll provision that demo out for you. You click on Show All Resources, and then you can open them right here in the browser, or you can just do a right click and save target as, right? I did that earlier today, so again, sort of cooking show magic here for you. And here's a bunch of the ones I downloaded. So what this will do is it'll give you a Word doc. This is the place you start with any of the demos. So here it walks you through, in this case, Azure Information Protection. That's our demo track. It's going to walk you through very specifically what's the scenario, what are we going to talk about, who's the intended audience, all of the information you need to know to go and do that demo. The one thing that's super important, every single one of these guides is going to have a demo prerequisite section. Don't shortchange yourself on that. Sometimes you have to go through, if you're doing an Intune demo or maybe a mobile application management demo, and like if you're going to use an iOS device, right? Well, you actually have to go out and provision the appropriate certificates on the Apple side, like for push notifications, and then import those into Intune. So it takes a few minutes to go through and get those all set up. So again, don't give yourself to the last minute rush of having that happen. Do that the day before, or do it a couple of days before, and then it'll walk you through all the different things. You're also going to find, and I brought this up on the screen here in some cases, we actually have click-through demos. So if you're looking for a demo and you're like, I don't have time to set it up, whatever, guess what? You can come here, do this one time, do it now, download all these click-through guides and click-through demos. It's a great little resource to have, right? If you're just on the road and you've only got your machine, you've only got a few minutes, you don't have time to bring up a live demo, come and get all these click-through demos now, and then you can use them on the, as you go about your business later. So that's a really good resource as well. So get to know the demos.microsoft.com site. It is a great resource for you as partners. The tenants don't live forever. I believe it's a 90-day tenant, but typically I know if I do a bunch of demos, by the time 90 days are up, I've pretty much destroyed any semblance of just good functionality inside that environment. So then you can just come in and provision a new one. If you're done with it, all you got to do is just click the little trash icon and you can get rid of it that way. So let me pause there. Typically this raises some questions, but I'm going to see if there's any in the queue, and I don't see any there. But if you have questions about demos.microsoft.com, again, go back to that blog series I wrote. I think you're going to find some really good resources there to help you get going. And again, just ping us on Yammer anytime that you want to know more. The next section that I want to talk about continues sort of on the mindset of the demos piece. But this is a little bit demo and a little bit training, and so it's kind of a bridge between two topics here. And what this is the Microsoft Hands-on Labs experience. And so I'm going to actually see if I can bring this up here. Give me just a second. It went away. Shoot. Okay, I'm going to see if I can find it here. Thanks for your patience here. My logged in things went away. not seeing it pop up here. So I will come back to that here in a few minutes, but it is in the slide deck. And so what it is if you're familiar with the old Immersion platform, you may be familiar with that on the Cloud Platform Immersion tool was what we called it. And what that tool did was allow you as a partner to have certain sort of pre-canned but working environments that you could walk a customer through in a guided scenario. And you could have customers all log into it. You could either gather them all in a room, or you could do it remotely and have them all dial in online and be able to actually get their hands on that environment. That's been transitioned over to what we're calling the Microsoft Hands-on Lab site. And this is just coming online here this month. And so when you take a look at it later, you may go, wow, this looks really thin on content. They're adding new content every single day. But the part you're going to actually want to pay attention to, and I'm going to see if I can't find this link here for you because I think it's pretty important. The part you're going to want to pay attention to is actually when you sign into it, right in the middle of the page, there's a section that's going to drop down, and I did find the link I was looking for here. So let me bring it up. This login section is going to say, hey, do you want to log in as an employee or a Microsoft partner? Because as a partner, you're going to get access to certain things that the standard customer is not. So I'm actually going to try to log in as a partner here and see what it does for me. You can see I've got no schedules, upcoming sessions, but what it does is when you book a session, it essentially reserves your time as a partner on the environment. And so you can click book a session. If you've used this in the past, you know that you typically would have had to do this through a Microsoft employee, call them up, have them set up the time for you. Well, you can see there's 4 tracks here, and they're outlined in these bullets in the middle of the screen. And these 4 tracks, one of them is the Enterprise and Mobility and Security track. So if you come here, you say, hey, I want to actually deliver Enterprise Mobility and Security track. Right now, there's 2 of them that have been built. There's more coming. But if you click on the detail, it's actually going to tell you, right, what's this going to cover, approximately how long does it take to go through the track, what's the Azure Information Protection sort of experience as well. You can actually set the day and time that you want to be able to do this, and then you add the facilitators who are going to be leading that. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this whole process and you're going, well, that sounds kind of cool, but I'm not even sure what to do with all this in terms of the hands-on lab piece, come up here and hit the help section. I'm going to navigate over to that. And just let them know that, hey, I'm new to this and I'd like to get some training on it. They actually do, in the past, they've done a weekly training call. It's just an hour long, and it walks you through how to use the whole platform. And in fact, there are some FAQs now for a partner on how do you get access as well. So I strongly recommend you get familiar with that. It's a great sales tool, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's also a great training tool. Because if you're doing internal training and you're trying to ramp up your team on how to get going on EMS and get going on some of these scenarios, walking through that pre-canned scenario is a great way to learn that. And so I would highly recommend, go spend some time on that, get familiar with it, because it will help you as you build out your business. So again, let me pause. I'm just going to peek over at our questions queue. And I see some of you put the links in there for me, so thank you. I should have looked at the queue sooner. I knew our partners would be all over that. That's super cool. Thank you for doing that. But we did find it, so we'll get that. That's available again in the links that we'll show you here in a few minutes. The last piece, or the next piece I want to show you, is on training resources. And training is something that, frankly, from a Microsoft perspective, there is a ton of it out there. I don't know if you've ever gone out and tried to search for EMS training. 2 years ago, you'd have been hard-pressed to find much of anything. Now you go in there and you can find a lot of stuff, but the lot of stuff is really hard to sort through because you really don't know what is the very best training that's available for me, and how do I get to the right information for me, for my team. And so what we've done is myself and Rob, one of our other community leads, and kudos to Rob, he's been working really hard on this for you. He has put together a document, and I'm actually going to jump to just our general EMS section here. And this document is going to be made available on our Yammer group in the next couple of days. We did a version of it a few weeks ago. We've actually been going through and updating it already because some of these courses have already changed. But what you're going to find here is a document that you can come through, you can download, and then you can use as a template to build out learning plans for yourself or your team. And these templates are really, it's sort of very flexible because we did it in Excel, right? We didn't want to put it in a PDF and kind of lock it down. Intentionally put it in Excel for you. You can come in here, you can filter down by, what type of activity are you looking for, what sort of modality, if you're a video person or you like to read blogs or whatever it might be, length and level. That's so important, right? If you're in a sales motion, you might be looking for more of the level 100, 200 content. If you're a deep dive implementer doing some architecture stuff, you're probably going to want to go in the 300, 400 level. So you can actually come here and find this. And this first tab, General EMS, is going to cover all of sort of the big picture EMS stuff that's available out there. And then as we roll this out here in the next few days, you're going to see there's actually more information about, specifically Azure Active Directory or Advanced Threat Analytics or managing mobile productivity. And we don't expect you to treat this as, wow, that's a lot of courses. I have to go through every single one of those. No. We put all these in here for you to be able to dive into the thing that you care about the most. And so a lot of these are very specific, right? You're going to see, here's one on deploying an iOS PIN policy. Well, it's a very specific scenario. If that doesn't apply to you, great, don't do it. Just move on and go on to the next scenario. And you'll see that we're going to keep this updated. So this is going to be something that we will keep updated on a regular basis. It's going to be posted on our Yammer group. We're actually going to do a complete blog post here in the next couple of days. It's going to show up out there as well. And that blog post is going to walk through not only what's in the learning path, but just some general strategies that we walk through with partners on a regular basis to build out your learning plans. And so I want to make sure that you're comfortable with that you've seen those. So be on the lookout for that. That's coming here in the next couple of days. The next piece that I want to show you, and I know we're moving pretty quickly through all this, but I do want to make sure that we cover all the material. The next piece that I want to show you is technical deep dive training. If you're familiar with our partner services group, they provide great training for their audience on a regular basis. And they've actually come out with a new course, a technical deep dive on EMS. And it's a 3-day remote-based course that is for partners. And actually, the latest edition is happening here today. It's wrapping up today. I've talked to these folks. They've already confirmed that they are going to be adding more deliveries of this in early 2017. So before you light up the chat window and say, oh, I missed it, there's more coming. But I want to make sure that you're aware of this page. You start watching this page. If we see updates to it, we will, of course, post the announcements on our Yammer group and make sure that you've got those accessible out there as well. But this is a really good course for you to be able to tap into to start to build your technical resources. And I'm going to give you a little peek behind the curtain as well. A little sneak preview. I can't announce anything yet, but we've been working really hard with our internal teams here across the U.S. that focus on partners. And I think we've got a really great plan that we're going to be rolling out in early 2017. We're going to be doing a multi-city. We're going to be doing some live training events on EMS, both on the sales side and the technical side. We're working to nail down dates and cities yet, so I can't announce anything yet. And if you ask me if we're coming to your city, I'm going to say I don't know because I don't know yet. And so we are working on that. But we are working really hard to get that into your hands. We've heard loud and clear that some of you love the online learning experience. Some of you love the classroom learning experience. We want to make sure that you have access to the thing that is going to work best for you. So be on the lookout for that. Of course, we will have that all over the community information pages in the weeks and months ahead as we get that completely rolled out to you. So that's a really good resource that I just wanted to call out for everybody. So be aware of those training courses. If you are a French speaker, there's several courses coming up. So if you want to do that, or if you want to learn French, this might be a good way to try it. I would not be so good at that particular audience there. The next thing that I want to talk about is our enterprise mobility and management competency. And you might be thinking, oh, competency again, right? The reason I'm bringing this up is because there's been a few changes, I think, to the positive that are really going to affect you as a partner. Now, if you've already achieved the competency, the changes may not affect you right away because you'll be grandfathered in. But if you're working towards attaining this competency, and it's a pretty easy competency to attain on the EMM side, there's some new things that you're going to want to be aware of. So if you're not familiar with enterprise mobility and management competency at all, it's part of the competency program for partners, obviously. this link is in our document. You can come out to the Competency Requirements tab down on this page, and it's going to walk you through for silver and gold, what are the competency requirements. I'm not going to walk you through all those right now. What I want to really focus on is the assessments. This is the part that changed. So just a few weeks ago, we retired the old assessments. Now, if you passed them, that's okay. But if you're working towards the competency, part of attaining that is passing some technical assessments. And so these assessments are online. They're on the MPN portal. I've taken some of them. They're relatively straightforward. If you've worked with EMS for any length of time, you should be able to go in and pass those. But you'll see there are 5 of them now. One is an overview, and then there are 4 that dive into specific technologies. And you'll see these have been updated to reflect the new EMS E5 technologies. So cloud app security is included here, information protection is included here. This is really nice. A lot of you told us, wow, the old competencies, they were kind of outdated, right? The technology was a year and a half old, and it didn't reflect any of the new stuff. These all reflect the new stuff now. So if you're in there, you want to get familiar with them, or if you are familiar with the new stuff, you should be getting relevant questions on the assessment that match what's happening in real life, which is, I think, great. That's a big win for us as the partner group to make sure that you're understanding that. And then there are links here as well to Partner University learning paths. So the Partner University team is a part of the Microsoft Partner Network. They have learning paths, videos, things that you can go through to help prepare for those assessments. Again, the assessments aren't all that challenging. I mean, I'm not going to say they're not challenging. They're not like secretive, right? They're not trying to trick you. As long as you go through and you study the materials, you should be able to pass those. Now, here's the strategy that I always talk with the partners. Some partners will say, I'm just going to have the minimum 1 person or 2 people in my org pass the assessments. These assessments are free. I would actually recommend you don't go for the minimum bar, go for the maximum bar. If you've got a whole bunch of salespeople that are all doing EMS, have them come in and do at least the overview assessment, and use that as a way just to help equip them, but also celebrate that with them, right? And go, hey, good job, we passed it, and let's set a goal and get our entire team to pass this, whatever that might be. It's just going to help build up your skills and everything. So that's kind of an aside, but that is something that comes up. What's the strategy? Do you pass the minimum or go for the maximum? I always recommend go for the maximum, especially since these aren't exams that you pay for. These are free to MPN partners, so you can use those pretty much anytime you want. The other thing that I want to talk about, and it's related to competency, is your internal use rights benefits. So if you're familiar with, and I don't know if I have a page for this, I don't think I do, but if you're familiar with, actually I do here, there we go, it's right here. So here's the links to it. And you'll get this in the documentation, but the internal use rights do now include licenses to EMS. But here's the cool thing, cloud app security is now included in that. It used to be just sort of a shadow demo tool version of cloud app security. Now you can actually get a license for cloud app security. So the IURs as a whole, right, it's a really great opportunity for you as partners to start using EMS in your business, whether it's in a test environment, or if you want to use it in your production workload, you can do that. You can also use this as a place to do demos for your customers. The one thing you want to be careful with is the IURs are not for proof of concept environments for your customers. Okay, so cloud app security is now a part of that. That's really, really important. A lot of you told us we want to be able to use that not only for ourselves, but we want to be able to show it to our customers. This is the place you can now do that. So if you're not familiar with IURs, typically somewhere in your organization is someone who owns the MPN benefit engagement model. Go talk to that person and say, hey, are we using our IURs for EMS? If not, get familiar with that person and be able to share that information with them. If you're the person who owns that and you're going, wow, I really hadn't thought about that, there's some links on this page, how to unlock your IURs, and then sort of an activation overview video that has been recorded as well. So I'm not going to walk you through all that today, but you can get through that. Some of you are probably going to ask, when can I get, Azure Information Protection or Advanced Threat Analytics as part of IURs? All I can tell you is it is being worked on, but I don't have an exact rollout date yet. Okay, so we've heard you loud and clear. We know that it's needed. We know that it needs to come, but it's not coming I can't announce anything yet today. Okay, so that's a question that frequently comes up when I talk about this topic. So I just wanted to make sure that you're sort of cognizant of that. We're aware of it. It's coming. You can in the demos.microsoft.com tool that I showed you. That does come with the E5, so it's got Azure Information Protection all set up and everything like that. In the blog series that I mentioned, there's some good tips about how to use those as well. So with that, I'm going to flip over and just check our queue and see if there's any questions that have come in. I'm not seeing anything that we haven't already answered, but if you have any questions, now would be the time to put those in the queue. And let me jump back to our slide deck here and just walk you through just a couple things, and we'll wrap up. Actually, this has been a really fun hour and a really fast hour. So let me switch back to our slides here. Bear with me just a moment. There we go. And so here is just a recap of everything I just walked us through. And so there are the incentives and offers and all of the links to those deployment planning pieces I talked about. Everything Dave Gifford talked about on the EMS Everywhere program is also in the slides. The sales resources, here's those links that I talked about. So when you get out to there, you can not only get to the training on the sales side, but you can get to all those good presentation materials. Demo resources, here's the demos.microsoft.com tool and the three-part blog series that I mentioned. So how to build the environment, configure it, and then how to sort of get the most, especially out of the new E5 features. There's the links to the hands-on labs. There's the learning path we talked about. And that learning path, we're going to post a new version of it this week. So if you go download it today, you might be slightly disappointed. If you wait an extra day or so, you're going to get the brand new version that's coming out. So no coincidence that we timed it to the launch of an awesome movie on Friday, Star Wars. Just kidding. But that's going to be coming out. Technical deep dives, I talked about those as well. There's the link to that site that you can go to. And again, there's going to be more stuff coming. There's our competency page and then the IUR page as well. And so that actually is the end of the prepared content for today. I'm going to just flip over one more time into the queue and see if there's any questions. I don't see any. So with that, we will go ahead and close out the call. We will post the slide deck and the video to the Yammer group today. So if you have any questions during that time, or if you're wondering, please post questions out to Yammer at any time. Don't wait for our next call. Feel free to reach out to us. I get direct messages from a lot of you on a daily or a weekly basis. That's great. Use that as a tool. We're here to be a resource for you. And if you're out there and you want to talk more in depth about building an enterprise mobility and security practice specifically or specific offerings, don't hesitate to reach out. We've got myself, Rob, Dave, and several others in our organization that are just eager to work with our partners and make that happen. So we'd be happy to walk through that with any one of you. And I don't see any other questions in the queue, so I'm going to go ahead and just say thank you for attending. We won't have a call till after the holidays, so happy holidays. I hope you get to enjoy with family and friends and maybe a little bit of time away from the office too. And we will talk to all of you next month, and we'll see you online. So have a great rest of your day.